Hey everybody, this is Matt Granger, your local realtor with the Stallings and Smith Team, and this is episode 4 of the Matt Granger Show. Today's episode, I'm interviewing Gary Pickern of the Blair Cato Law Firm, and we're going to be breaking this up into 4 sections. First section being is we're going to talk about how to pick the right closing attorney, and actually for any of you guys that's never bought a home before, actually explain the closing process. So without further ado, and thanks for watching. So for the viewers out there that never bought a house before, and the ones that are living in their first house and might be thinking about selling, maybe you can remind them and explain to the new buyers what actually a closing is.
Okay. So when you have a real estate transaction, obviously you start with the contract. You'll have a real estate agent representing you, and when you find the house you want to buy, you'll sign a contract with the seller agreeing to sell the house to you for a certain price. Once that happens, then you need to select a closing attorney. And I think it's real important to understand when you're hiring an attorney or selecting an attorney, that you try to find somebody with experience that your real estate agent or your lender recommends. You want to work with people that your agent and your lender has recommended because they've worked with them and they know the quality of work they're going to do. Price is a factor, and I get that, but if our sole driving factor is just price, then a lot of times you get what you pay for. I always joke that when you go to your heart doctor, your first question isn't how much do you cost. Your first question is how good are you? How much experience you have? What do you do? How do I know that you're the right person for me? And so when you selected your real estate agent, you went with Matt and his group, you're going to look for somebody that's going to be responsive to you, return your phone calls, answer your questions, and knows what they're doing. And it's the same thing with a lender, same thing with a lawyer. You want to make sure you get somebody that knows what they're doing, someone that's going to be attentive to you, that's going to return your phone calls, and make you feel like you got the attention and the questions answered that you needed. So once the contract's signed, you're going to hire your attorney. Your attorney's going to do a title search. And what that is we'll go to the courthouse records, go through all the records. We'll search for 40 to 60 years to make sure that the property you're buying doesn't have liens, judgments, lawsuits pending, that the person trying to sell the property to you actually owns the property, and they can convey it to you, they can sell it to you. We also need to know what the seller has to pay off. I mean, do they have mortgages? Do they have liens? Do they have tax issues that they have to pay off to sell the property to you? So we'll do a title search. And once we do that title search and everything's clear, if you have a lender, we'll provide information to the lender, letting them know that we can go ahead and close. And at that time, the lender is going to send us what's called a loan package. The loan package will be all of your loan documents that they'll want you to sign in order to get the money. You're going to sign a promissory note promising to pay them back the money. You're going to sign a mortgage saying that if I don't pay you back, you can take my property and satisfy my debt with my property. And there's all kind of other documents that the government's going to require you to sign as part of that loan transaction. Right. And so we'll put all that together.
Stack like this much,
some lenders is this much, but back in the day they could get pretty thick and pretty long. So what happens is we'll get all that put together, and the most important document to the buyer and the seller is going to be what's called the settlement statement. And that's going to set out all the charges, the sales price and all the charges for buying the property, any lender fees they'll have, any government recording fees, attorney fees, title fees, and they'll give them the number. So we prepare all of that, and then the parties will come together for one meeting to go over all the documents. And that's a little bit different from other states. Some states don't have attorneys. They use what's called title agents. Some states, they'll have 2 lawyers, one representing the buyer, one representing the seller. The seller goes to the seller attorney's office, and the buyer goes to the buyer's office, and they just later exchange documents. But in South Carolina, we are a lawyer state, and the lawyer does the real estate closing, and typically they do it for both sides. And so we'll go over the documents at the closing, get all the documents signed. Everybody goes over the closing statement to make sure the numbers are correct and no one has any issues with the numbers. And if there's an issue, we fix it or change those to make sure everything's finalized. And then once it's finalized, then we do what's called disperse. We then cut the checks, give everybody their money, shake hands, and congratulate everybody on a new house, and we're good to go. Then we record the documents.
Right, and if you have a good attorney and good realtors on both sides of the deal, closing is normally just a formality, and everything you explain usually is really smooth for the buyer and seller. They even know all that stuff that you do, and it's done in like an hour.
Right, in a good closing, if everything's good, you're using a good quality lender who's going to be responsive. And communicate with us during the closing as needed, and the agents have provided all the documents that they need to your home warranty, your termite letters, your heating and air inspection letters, and things like that. Then our goal is to get you in and out in less than an hour, from beginning to end.
Right, and normally that it is. So we've had some problems before.
Right, and you have closings, sometimes problems happen. I mean, as
Right,
part of
yeah.
closing, the process, every closing isn't designed to necessarily be 100% smooth. The closing is to bring everybody together to make sure everything is correct. And it's more important to make sure it's correct than to just get it done.
Right.
And that's where going back and choosing good agents, good lenders, good attorneys is important, because there's some that their main goal is just to get it done, get you in and get you out. But then that leaves you after the closing dealing with problems you shouldn't be dealing with. So our goal, number one, is to get it done and get it done correctly. And if it takes more than an hour, it takes more than an hour.
Yeah.
But hopefully everything is smooth. We can get all the issues resolved before closing. And as you said, the closing is a formality. It's making sure the numbers are correct, everybody signing off, exchanging keys, signing documents for the lender's satisfaction, and getting the lender's permission to finish it, and it's done. And I do real estate closing probably for the same reason you do. It's a happy occasion. When you work with people who buy houses, most people are going to be happy that they're buying a house, and almost everybody's going to be happy they're selling a house. Occasionally you run into some situations where a seller doesn't necessarily want to sell, they have to because of financial reasons, and that's a sad situation for them. But right, but for the most part, real estate's a happy occasion, and at the end of closing, buyers and sellers are happy, and they shaking hands and hugging, sometimes taking pictures together and talking about neighbors, talking about schools and stuff, and it's a happy occasion, and that's why I enjoy doing it.
It should be, because 99% of people who buy houses, their biggest investment of their life.
Right, that's absolutely right.
So
Again,
it needs to be smooth, and you have professionals
and
to
have the
do
right parties, and can't stress enough having the right people doing your closings.
Right.
That's where it all begins. But it's a neat process, and we've watched people who are later in life buying their house, first person in their house ever to buy a house, and bringing aunts and uncles and taking pictures, and everybody's happy at the end. And it's a big event for anybody, particularly young couples buying their first house together, or somebody getting out of school and finally getting the money together where they can buy their own house. And home ownership is just very important to us, to the community.
Right. Hey everybody, so that concludes part one of the 3-part series where I'm interviewing Gary. If you're interested in seeing more, why don't you go ahead and hit the subscribe button below, and then you can click the little bell to get notifications for in the next couple days when I post part 2. So thanks for watching.